As one reaches 60 and beyond, an inevitable question arises. Who will truly be there when support becomes essential? In younger years, the answer might seem obvious. Family members, closest friends, those with whom you share a lifetime. However, once the age of 60 is passed, reality often takes on a different hue. Life relentlessly shifts. People become engrossed in their own concerns. Priorities change, and suddenly, the support system once believed to be unshakable may prove less robust than imagined. This narrative will explore 6 fundamental pillars that, with age, offer significantly greater reliability than traditional family ties. This isn't about distancing oneself from loved ones, but about deeply understanding the sources of true stability, ensuring you're not vulnerable precisely when you need support most. By building a strong foundation on these 6 pillars, individuals gain security and independence, empowering them to navigate life's challenges successfully. Pillar 1. Your financial stability. Perhaps the most reliable support available to anyone is not another individual, but their own financial independence. Money may not buy happiness, but it certainly buys security, freedom of choice, and much-needed peace of mind. The older one gets, the clearer it becomes that relying on family for financial assistance is not a sound plan, but rather a significant risk. Children have their own lives, their own unavoidable expenses, and their own families to care for. Even if they genuinely love their parents, they may not always be in a position to help precisely when it's most acutely needed. Consider Richard, a 72-year-old man who always assumed his children would come to his aid if he ever faced financial difficulties. He generously supported them through college, provided money when they needed it, and was always there at their call. However, when an unexpected medical issue depleted all his savings, he turned to his children for support, only to realize they were struggling with their own mortgages, bills, and financial challenges. This wasn't due to a lack of care, but because life is unpredictable and full of demands. That's why financial stability is one of the most powerful pillars you can build. It's not about accumulating vast wealth, but about being prepared for any turn of fate. This means having a clear emergency plan, a stable income you can rely on, and a solid understanding of how to manage your money effectively, so you never have to depend on anyone else for survival. If you're 60 or older, it's time to ask yourself, do I have enough savings for unforeseen expenses? How secure is my retirement income? Have I minimized financial risks that could leave me vulnerable? If the answer is no, immediate action is crucial. Learn to budget wisely, avoid unnecessary debt, and invest in long-term stability. Ultimately, financial security is the one thing that will always be there, no matter what life brings. Pillar 2. Your physical health. There's one thing in life that no amount of love, money, or support from others can replace: your own health. After 60, your body becomes either your greatest ally or your most significant obstacle to a fulfilling life. The truth is, you can have all the financial security in the world, but if your health fails, your personal freedom inevitably diminishes. While family members can certainly show care, they cannot exercise for you, they cannot eat right for you, and they cannot stop the irreversible effects of aging. This responsibility rests entirely and solely on you. Too many people neglect their health, mistakenly believing that when the time comes, someone will surely be there to take care of them. However, the reality is that even if your family genuinely loves you, each member has their own life. They may not have the time, energy, or even the capacity to become a full-time caregiver, and relying on others to manage your well-being can lead to a feeling of complete helplessness. That's why prioritizing your health now is one of the most significant investments you can make in your future. Consider Carl, a 68-year-old who was always active in his youth, but let himself go after retirement. He thought he'd have plenty of time to get back in shape, but before he knew it, his energy plummeted, his mobility worsened, and even simple tasks became difficult. His children visited when they could, but they couldn't physically be there every day to provide constant assistance. Ultimately, he realized that if he wanted to maintain his independence, he needed to take control of his health. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. You don't need to train like a professional athlete, But even small, consistent efforts make a colossal difference. Move daily, eat foods that energize rather than harm you, and take your regular medical checkup seriously. If you've been ignoring warning signs, aches that don't go away, difficulty walking, changes in energy levels, it's time to stop putting them aside. Your future self will be immensely grateful for every healthy choice you make today. Ultimately, your strongest support system isn't your children, siblings, or friends. It's your own ability to remain strong, active, and capable. And the more you prioritize your health now, the less you'll have to rely on anyone else in the years to come. Pillar 3. Your social circle. One of the most common and significant mistakes people make as they age is self-isolation. This process can happen slowly and subtly. Friends move away, loved ones pass on, and before you know it, your social circle is far smaller than you ever imagined. The problem is that without strong, supportive friendships, loneliness inevitably sets in, and loneliness, especially after 60, is a serious danger. It negatively impacts not only emotional well-being, but also overall health, mental acuity, and even lifespan. You might assume your family will always be there for companionship, but here's the truth. Your children have their own lives. They have careers, their own families, and numerous obligations that keep them constantly busy. They may love you deeply, but they cannot be your sole source of companionship and social activity. That's why one of the most vital pillars of support is your social network. People who genuinely care about you, who make you laugh, who bring energy and vibrancy into your life. These relationships are not a luxury. They are a necessity. Look at Margaret, a 73-year-old woman who always relied on her family for social interaction. She had 2 sons, both of whom loved her dearly. But over the years, they became increasingly busy with work and raising their own children. They still called, but daily visits and weekend gatherings became rarer. Margaret began to feel lonely, constantly waiting for phone calls that didn't always come. Then she decided to change things. She started reconnecting with old friends, joined a community group, and even took up new hobbies that introduced her new people. Suddenly, her life was filled with lively conversations, shared laughter, and a deep sense of purpose. She no longer had to wait for her family to feel connected. She actively built that connection herself. Friendships, participation in community groups, and even casual acquaintances provide something invaluable, a sense of belonging. Whether it's a neighbor you chat with, a book club you attend, or a special interest group at your local gym, having people in your life beyond family creates a strong foundation of emotional strength. The more connections you build now, the more support you'll have in later years. So, ask yourself, who in your life right now brings you joy? If the answer is unclear, it's time to actively expand your social circle. Ultimately, a strong social network isn't just about having company. It's about having people who lift your spirits, remind you of your worth, and make every stage of life significantly richer. Pillar 4. Your sense of purpose. One of the most underestimated sources of support in life is not another person, but your own deeply rooted sense of purpose. After 60, many people begin to feel significant changes. Roles that once gave life meaning, being a parent, an active worker, a caring guardian, gradually start to fade. Retirement sets in, children become fully independent, and the overall pace of life noticeably slows. Without a clear direction or focus, it's easy to feel invisible, unneeded, or even lost. The truth is, no matter how much your family loves you, they cannot give you purpose. That's something you must build for yourself. Having a compelling reason to wake up in the morning, whether it's a passion, an engaging project, or a specific goal, keeps your mind sharp, your emotions stable, and your life filled with deep meaning. It's what keeps you engaged with the world, rather than just observing it from the sidelines. Consider George, a 70-year-old retired engineer. When he left work, he was genuinely excited to finally relax. But after just a few months, he began to feel restless, as if something important was missing. His days felt empty. His children visited occasionally, but they had their own busy lives. That's when he decided to act. He started volunteering at a local school, teaching young children basic engineering concepts. Soon, he had a new, compelling reason to get up every morning, something that made him feel valuable, useful, and actively involved in life. Purpose doesn't have to be tied to professional activity. It could be anything that makes you feel alive. Learning something new, mentoring, pursuing gardening, painting, traveling, or even just setting personal, achievable goals. It's about engaging in what brings you genuine joy and keeps you mentally and emotionally active. If you've ever felt that your best days are behind you, it's time to shift that mindset. Your purpose doesn't disappear with age. It merely evolves, taking on new forms. The more you invest in finding meaning in your daily life, the less you'll have to rely on others for happiness. Ultimately, the strongest support you can have isn't someone holding your hand. It's the inner fire that continues to propel you forward. Pillar 5. Your emotional resilience. Life has an uncanny way of testing you, regardless of your age. After 60, challenges don't cease. They simply change form. Friendships may fade, loved ones pass away, new health issues arise, and at times, life can feel lonelier than ever before. The truth is, no matter how much support you receive from others, the most reliable source of strength will always come from within. Your ability to adapt to new conditions, process emotions effectively, and find inner peace during difficult times is what allows you to keep moving forward, even when circumstances don't unfold as you expected. Too many people rely on family as their primary emotional support system, genuinely believing that their children, siblings, or extended relatives will always be there to comfort them. But the reality is that everyone has their own battles to fight. They may not always have the time or energy to be the inexhaustible source of emotional stability you need. That's why developing emotional resilience is so critically important. It allows you to find strength within yourself rather than constantly seeking it from others. Take the story of Helen, a 75-year-old woman who lost her husband after 40 years of marriage. At first, she leaned on her children for emotional support, but over time, she realized that while they cared deeply, they had their own families and responsibilities to manage. She understood she couldn't expect them to fill the void she felt inside. Instead of letting grief consume her, she focused on strengthening herself emotionally. She joined a support group, started journaling, and practiced gratitude daily. Over time, she discovered something powerful. She didn't need someone else to fix her sadness. She had the inner strength to heal herself. Emotional resilience isn't about suppressing emotions or constantly pretending to be strong. It's about acknowledging pain, processing it healthily, and developing effective coping mechanisms that allow you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. It's about having outlets, whether it's writing, meditation, therapy, or simply self-reflection, that help you find peace within yourself, rather than depending on others to provide it. Whatever life brings, the ability to stand firmly on your own 2 feet will always be one of your greatest sources of support. The more you cultivate emotional resilience, the less you will feel dependent on others to feel whole, because ultimately, the person who will always be with you through every difficulty and every triumph is you. Pillar 6. Your adaptability. If there's one undeniable truth about life after 60, it's this: nothing remains constant. People change, circumstances shift, and what you once relied on may no longer be as dependable as it once was. The key to thriving at this stage of life isn't clinging to the past, but your own ability to adapt. Those who struggle most with aging often resist change, holding too tightly to what was instead of embracing what is. But those who learn to adjust, remain open, and welcome new possibilities find joy and satisfaction, no matter what life brings. Many people mistakenly assume that once they reach a certain age, they're stuck in their ways. But this mindset can be extremely dangerous. It can prevent you from discovering new opportunities, meeting new people, and learning things that could significantly enrich your life. Being adaptable isn't just passively accepting change. It's actively seeking ways to grow and evolve with it. Consider Frank, a 78-year-old man who always relied on in-person friendships to stay connected to the world. When many of his friends moved away or, sadly, passed on, he initially felt lost and empty. He thought, well, this is just how it is when you get old. But then, instead of resigning himself to loneliness, he decided to adapt. He learned to use video calls to stay in touch with distant relatives, join an online history discussion group, and even made some new friends in the process. Instead of letting change defeat him, he allowed himself to grow with it, opening up new horizons. The people who thrive after 60 are not necessarily those with the most resources or the strongest support system. They're the ones who refuse to get stuck in their ways, who remain curious, and who find ways to adjust to whatever circumstances life throws their way. If one door closes, they actively look for another. If relationships change, they find new, creative ways to connect. If something no longer works, they're willing to try something completely different. Your ability to adapt is one of the greatest pillars of support you will ever have. It allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience, optimism, and self-reliance. The more you embrace change instead of fearing it, the less you will feel like you are losing something, and the more you will realize that every stage of life offers something new to gain and master. Concluding thoughts. Reaching 60 and beyond is a significant life stage that brings both accumulated wisdom and new challenges. While family will always hold a special, unwavering place in your heart, the reality is that the most reliable support you will ever have is not in other people, but in the strong foundation you build for yourself. Your financial stability ensures you never have to rely on anyone else to survive and meet your basic needs. Your physical health determines whether you can maintain your freedom of movement and independence in daily life. Your social circle keeps you connected to the world, engaged, and emotionally fulfilled. Your sense of purpose gives your life deep meaning and clear direction, regardless of your age or social status. Your emotional resilience fortifies you against life's inevitable difficulties and upheavals, and your ability to adapt allows you to thrive even when things don't go as planned and circumstances change. If you have these 6 fundamental pillars, you will never feel completely alone or helpless. You will never have to beg for support, feel powerless in difficult times, or wait for someone else to come and save you. Because true stability doesn't come from hoping others will be there for you. It comes from the deep knowledge that you are already prepared to stand firmly on your own 2 feet, no matter what life brings.